Well, we'll talk about Buffalo, the beast of the East, no longer Cincinnati. Of all people, Cincinnati feels good about itself, maybe going back to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. The Bills' bid to try to take the next step forward fails again. Cincinnati and Joe Cool, Joe Burrow, unbelievable. A really tough afternoon for Josh Allen. I think in terms of Buffalo, this has to be a massive disappointment. This has to be a huge setback. This has to be questions now being asked. Why can't the Bills get over the hurdle and get to the next level, which is the AFC Championship game, or maybe get to the Super Bowl? The more I thought about it in the last 24 hours, John, I think Buffalo just is emotionally drained. I think the grind of the season, I think the Hamlin situation and the near tragedy, the two games are impacted by the snowstorms and the blizzard, and then the loss of Von Miller has just really made Buffalo worn out. They didn't look like the same football team. And in terms of Cincinnati, I was stunned that they were able to go in and play on the snow the way they did. They were aggressive from the get-go down the field. Their guys ran precise routes, and the longer the game went, the more physical and more confident that they got, while Buffalo just seemed to hesitate on defense, seemed to be a step slow, did not seem to be sure of their footing. And this is in Buffalo. They play in snow. They play in rugged weather in mid-fall into December. I was just stunned at that the way that Buffalo reacted to the elements and could not handle Cincinnati. Equally surprised how Cincinnati came out of the blocks and were running what they run and did not pay any attention to footing conditions, etc. I think there's one other thing here. Nobody's really talked about it. I think Cincinnati was bleeping disrespected.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, there should be some conversation of why the National Football League announced neutral site game for the AFC Championship game if it's Buffalo, Kansas City, and we're selling tickets. And they sold the thing out in like 29 hours. Cincinnati's sitting there. We're a really good team. Why are you selling tickets to an AFC Championship game and you don't think that we have a chance to be in it? I think Cincinnati was emotionally disrespected, and I think that kind of fueled their fire. And as the game went on, John, they got more confident and they got more physical, and they kicked the crap out of Buffalo's lines with the way they played. And from the Bills' standpoint, I don't understand with three offensive linemen out in Cincinnati, where's the blitz package? Why did you not get into Joe Burrow's face? And they got mugged. They got pushed all over that field like they were in a shopping cart by Cincinnati's offensive front. So I think not only did the Bengals play well, I think the Bengals out-psyched them, and I think the Bengals were peeved and disrespected. That's one man's opinion on what Cincinnati did to Buffalo. And John Riley's thoughts?
Well, it goes back to Joe Burrow. I mean, what a leader he is, coming in with lots of swag, lots of confidence. It's what I love about him. And so his team rallied behind him. And yeah, they used that neutral site game as motivation. I mean, when Burrow was interviewed in the post game, what did he say? We got to give him out refunds now, right? For the tickets that were already pre-purchased. So
take that, NFL.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've often talked about how the Bengals are the real deal. And Joe Burrow is one of the top QBs. He's going to make a bank of money next year when his contract is up. But yeah, I was disappointed in Buffalo, but you think about it. Yeah, the whole Damar Hamlin situation, all the snowstorms. I mean, they had some really tragic things going on over the winter. And then the mass shooting in Buffalo. I mean, that whole city is fatigued. So I know America's team of people were really rooting for Buffalo. It just didn't work out.
Cincinnati has won 5 playoff games now in 2 years. 5. Cincinnati, small market Cincinnati, owned by penny pinching Mike Brown, have won 5 playoff games with Joe Cool at quarterback. So Cincinnati moves on, and Buffalo has to sit there, and now they've got to evaluate what are we missing to get to the next step, make the next step. And Buffalo's history in postseason is not all that good. They're just 5-9 in playoff games, going all the way back to 1995. And of course, they get that and they have the 4 failed Super Bowl games hanging around their neck too. So it's going to be a tough winter in Buffalo weather-wise, and I think emotionally for the Buffalo Bills because something's not right.
Have you seen the comparisons that people were talking about online? They were saying Patrick Mahomes is like the Tom Brady, and that Joe Burrow is like Peyton Manning, and that Josh Allen is like Phillip Rivers. Do you see those comparisons?
Could be. Rivers never quite got there as good as he was, and Josh Allen's probably on that same street corner. That's not a bad call. Okay, let's